it may seem as if the outrageously large expansion of parents that are fighting the removal of their children are simply David taking on a mother ducker of a Goliath. It may be viewed by some as unwinnable, but not to these parents. They still fight. They fight to expose what is believed by them to be an agency that removes children using criteria unrelated to any harm or neglect of the children, but under unlawful means based in part on age and adoptability of a child, potential risk, personality clashes with parents, or as a punishment for not agreeing with a social worker or case plan. These represent a handful of allegations made about child welfare as a whole, globally. The success rate of child welfare is abysmal all around. It really doesn't exist, considering the intent and purpose of why they say children are removed from their homes, to prevent harm, in most cases. Unfortunately, the first thing they do for children is add an irreparable trauma to the child, a literal brain injury. One would assume the benefit may in some way mitigate the trauma, but in far too many instances it compiles. Children die in their care, get raped, trafficked, beaten, starved, ignored in their care. They age out at 21 and become homeless at a shameful rate. Really, just incredibly shameful. So, as often as it gets worse for the children, no one holds child welfare accountable for this failure. They destroy families under the guise of preventing this very situation. And another point of interest is who is doing the reporting. Number 1 is teachers, number 2 doctors, number 3 is social workers and their law enforcement. Then by a much lower percent is the opposite parent or family, and finally a near non-existent stat at number 5 are the children themselves. I understand mandated reporting, but the avenue leading to potential exploitation is clear. It is in use. The entire social service wing of this country has implants from our adversaries embedded within, specifically to ruin the quality of American family life.
That is a lot to absorb, Tom. My thoughts are teachers, doctors, law enforcement may have allowed fictional bias to be seeded into our culture. That is a lot to absorb, Tom. My thoughts are teachers, doctors, law enforcement may have allowed fictional bias to be seeded into our culture, possibly influencing those that have good intentions evolved into primitive prejudice. Well, let's have faith the Americans can pull their heads out of their AAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAA